secretive royal residence.
It's a wonderfully private place.
And the home of their most powerful secret weapon, Prince Edward and his wife Sophie.
With its impressive 120 rooms set across 51 acres within Windsor Great Park, the estate represents far more than royal luxury. It serves as the symbolic and practical home of the dukedom, carrying decades of royal history and tradition within its walls, more than a name. She was passing on a legacy built on responsibility, humility, and lifelong service. Yet, the Queen's preparations did not stop with the title itself. She also took steps to protect Bagshot Park, the magnificent residence connected to the Dukedom of Edinburgh.
Bagshot Park, the royal family's most
Service and unwavering support of the Crown made the title one of the most respected in the royal family.
It's an event designed to reflect Philip's long and eventful life, of course, and some elements of the service have been specially chosen by Her Majesty.
By ensuring that Edward would eventually receive it, Elizabeth was preserving far more. Speechless. But why did Queen Elizabeth handpick Edward of all people? Does he hold a special place with her? Let's find out. Queen Elizabeth's most trusted son. Prince Edward, the youngest child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, was often seen as the son who shared one of the deepest and warmest connections with the late Queen. While every parent loves their children, many royal experts believe that Edward held a very special place in his mother's heart. Their remarkable bond began from the very moment he entered the world in 1964. This was highly unusual for members of the royal family and hinted that things would be different with her youngest child. Royal biographer Ingrid Seward has explained that Edward's birth marked an important change in the Queen's life as both a monarch and a mother. By then, she had gained more experience balancing the enormous demands of the crown with when Queen Elizabeth made an unexpected decision that broke long-standing royal custom. Instead of following tradition, she asked Prince Philip to be by her side during the birth. At the time, most. Among her greatest concerns was her youngest son, Prince Edward.
His mother was the United Kingdom's much-loved queen for over 70 years.
Unlike many members of the royal family who often found themselves surrounded by controversy, Edward had built a reputation for quiet dedication, loyalty, and dependable public service.
We've all had that same spotlight shone on our lives. We've been subjected to massive intrusion and all the rest of it, and we all deal with it in different ways.
He rarely sought attention, and consistent Prince Edward should inherit the historic Dukedom of Edinburgh. This was no ordinary royal title. For more than 70 years, it had been closely linked to Prince Philip, whose lifelong stint carried out his royal duties with dignity. Those qualities reminded both Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip of the kind of steady commitment they believed the monarchy should represent. For that reason, the Queen was determined that this moment also carries a deeply personal meaning because of their children, James and Lady Louise. As they watched these events unfold, they saw their father remain composed under intense pressure. They witnessed him preparing carefully, compelled to rely on legal safeguards to protect personal rights from pressure believed to come from the king's own circle. It signals a relationship that has become strained. Even if public tensions eventually fade, understanding his legal position and standing up for what he believed was right without creating unnecessary conflict. Those experiences are likely to leave a lasting impression, shaping how they understand responsibility, duty, fairness, and the role they may one day play within the monarchy. For King Charles, the situation presents an uncomfortable challenge. Although he remains the sovereign and holds the highest authority within the royal family, leadership depends on more than titles alone. It also depends on trust, respect, and confidence among those closest to the throne. When a family member feels
been exposed because you've got two key members of the family down.
So, what exactly has been revealed? Why has it generated such intense interest? And could this disclosure reshape perceptions of the monarchy? Let's examine the story. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, She understood that once she was gone, difficult decisions could become even more complicated. Rather than leaving important matters to chance, she carefully put plans in place to protect the people and traditions she valued. Please subscribe. Elizabeth's final gift to Edward. As Queen Elizabeth II entered the final years of her life,
News from Buckingham Palace that the Queen is under medical supervision at Balmoral.
she became increasingly focused on the future of the monarchy. After decades on the throne, she had witnessed how royal wealth, titles, and family disagreements could create lasting divisions. The atmosphere. What had seemed like an escalating royal confrontation suddenly lost momentum. By the end of March 25, 2026, the reported claim over the tiara had quietly disappeared. Edward's legal advisors made it clear they were fully prepared to defend him. They issued a firm warning that, if the dispute continued, they would have no choice but to make private correspondence from Queen Elizabeth public. Those letters reportedly revealed the Queen's unmistakable wishes. At the same time, the review surrounding Bagshot Park came to an equally quiet conclusion. Edward's legal position was formally confirmed in writing, bringing the uncertainty to an end without the dramatic public showdown many had expected. That Sophie should remain the rightful keeper of her personal jewelry collection. They also contained private observations about Camilla that, if revealed, could have created significant public embarrassment and attracted intense media attention. The warning immediately took the courage to stand up for the truth. Who offered Edward the quiet but powerful support? How effective was it? Let's find out. Princess Anne conference or make emotional public statements. Instead, she relied on the qualities that have earned her respect for decades: steady judgment, honesty, and an unwavering sense of duty. Anne has long been known as one of the hardest working members of the royal family. Even in her 70s, she continues to carry out and finally drew the line. At the moment when the pressure seemed almost impossible to bear, Princess Anne quietly stepped forward in the way she always has. She did not hold a dramatic press hundreds of official engagements every year, often without attracting the attention that follows other royals. She has never been interested in headlines or unnecessary attention. Her focus has always been on fulfilling her responsibilities with discipline and determination, allowing her actions to speak louder than her words. Some commentators portrayed it as proof of growing tension between the brothers, while others viewed it as nothing more than a difference in personality and perspective. Like many siblings, feel comfortable wearing a kilt. Unlike Charles, he had not attended Gordonstoun School in Scotland, where many students develop a close appreciation for Scottish customs and traditions. Without that personal connection, Edward reportedly felt it would be unnatural to wear something that did not genuinely reflect his own experiences. His explanation was honest and personal, but it reportedly frustrated Charles, who believed the tradition deserved enthusiastic support from every member of the family. That brief disagreement quickly became the foundation for years of speculation. Was now becoming something much more painful. The next surprise came when officials from Queen Camilla's office arrived, saying they were carrying out what they described as a routine review of royal jewelry. On the surface, the tiara held a remarkable story. It had been specially created for Sophie's wedding to Prince Edward in 1999, following the wishes of Queen Elizabeth II herself. The design beautifully combined antique pieces that had once belonged to Queen Victoria with newly crafted elements, creating a unique symbol that connected generations of royal history. Over the years, Sophie had proudly worn the tiara during some of the most important occasions of her royal life. It had appeared at state banquets. It sounded like an ordinary administrative task. But as the inspection continued, it quickly became clear that one particular item was attracting far more attention than anything else. That item was Sophie's beloved Anthem Tiara. This was not just another royal jewel sitting inside a palace vault. This disagreement exposed something much bigger than a simple family misunderstanding. It highlighted deeper divisions that have quietly been growing within the royal family for years. What once appeared to be a united institution now seems to have fought in a tug of war. Will the difference split the royal family into factions? What effect can the struggle have on the future of the monarchy? Let's find out. The monarchy's quiet power struggle. For many people watching from the outside, have two very different groups, each with its own vision for the monarchy's future. At the heart of Buckingham Palace, King Charles and Queen Camilla continue to promote a modern, smaller monarchy. Their goal is to reduce the number of working royals, simplify royal duties, and mutual respect. While some critics continue to argue that public appearances simply protect the monarchy's image, the available evidence points more toward occasional family disagreements than an enduring or bitter conflict. The monarchy seems to be spoke louder than years of rumor and speculation. Rather than revealing a lasting family feud, it suggested a relationship built on loyalty, shared duty, and ability within the institution. His commitment never appeared to weaken. Perhaps the clearest sign of their enduring relationship came in 2023, when King Charles fulfilled the long-held wishes of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip by granting Edward the title of Duke of Edinburgh. For many royal observers, that decision, Charles and Edward appeared to have occasional disagreements without allowing them to destroy their relationship. In fact, the years that followed painted a very different picture. Prince Edward steadily became one of the monarchy's most reliable and hard-working members. As other senior royals stepped away from public duties, Edward quietly accepted greater responsibilities, supporting the king at official engagements and helping maintain stability. King Charles remains on the throne, but attention is steadily turning toward the future and the day Prince William will eventually become king. During this period of change, decisions that were once left unquestioned are now being looked at more carefully. Long-standing promises, private agreements, and family traditions are all being measured against the vision for a modern monarchy. It is a time when the past and the future are meeting, and not every expectation survives that meeting. Rebuilding confidence behind palace walls is rarely quick or easy. Trust, once weakened, often takes years to restore, leaving lasting effects that can quietly influence family relationships and the future direction of the monarchy for a long time to come. While Charles's tenure taps down, all eyes are on William. What does the future hold for the monarchy? Will there be more transparency and better reforms? Stay tuned. Edward's quiet victory reshapes monarchy. As the royal family moves into a new chapter, the balance of power and tradition is quietly changing, continue showing up, doing the work, and allowing their actions to speak for themselves. Their close relationship has also been visible during many of the royal family's most significant moments. Whether attending grand state ceremonies, national celebrations, or private family occasions, the pair have frequently stood side while offering steadfast support to King Charles III as he began his reign. With a smaller group of working royals carrying greater responsibilities, the siblings willingly stepped forward to help shoulder the burden. Many royal observers believe Princess Anne by side, presenting a united front in support of the institution they have devoted their lives to protecting. Their calm personalities, practical outlook, and unwavering sense of responsibility have only strengthened the connection they share. That partnership became even more important after the deaths of Prince Philip in 2021 and Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. During one of the most emotional periods in modern royal history, both Anne and Edward played key roles in national mourning ceremonies because it knows how to adapt while holding firmly to its foundations. That balancing act continues today. The institution is becoming smaller, more streamlined, and increasingly focused on defining clear responsibilities for each working royal. At the same time, there is a growing determination to protect traditions that have shaped limits of authority within the royal family. While these events unfolded quietly, they revealed how the monarchy often settles its most important disagreements. There were no dramatic confrontations, no public arguments, and the treasured tiara may one day be remembered as far more significant than they first appeared. They were not simply about a home or a royal jewel. Instead, they became symbols of something much larger: the struggle to preserve trust, honor past commitments, and define and no sensational headlines driving the outcome. Instead, success came through careful preparation, well-kept records, legal understanding, determination, and the quiet confidence of those who believed that promises should be respected. The monarchy has survived centuries because, for many observers, that raised uncomfortable questions about where the line between personal inheritance and royal property should be drawn. For Sophie, however, the issue went far beyond royal tradition or legal definitions. Having lost her encouragement and confidence the Queen had shown her, Edward and Sophie also understood the wider implications. If one treasured gift could suddenly have its ownership questioned, what might happen to other personal items given by the late Queen? To them, this was about much more than a single tiara. It was about protecting cherished family memories, honoring the Queen's personal wishes, and preserving a legacy that could not simply be measured by jewels alone. There was a figure who avenged her own mother at a young age. She had formed an exceptionally close bond with Queen Elizabeth II over the years. The late Queen had become not only her monarch, but also a trusted guide and a motherly figure. Every time Sophie wore the tiara, she was reminded of that unique relationship and the love. September 2022, a new chapter began for the British monarchy.
A few moments ago, Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
King Charles III stepped onto the throne with a clear vision of how he wanted Elizabeth known to Charles. Could that be the reason why he decided to overrule Queen Elizabeth's decision? Keep watching. Edward's loyalty met with doubt. When Queen Elizabeth II passed away, and decision reflected not only royal tradition, but also the immense love, respect, and trust Queen Elizabeth placed in the son many believed had become one of her greatest sources of comfort and unwavering support. So, was Edward's position with Queen Elizabeth the royal family to operate? He believed the monarchy should become smaller, more efficient, and better suited to modern times. To make that happen, he began reviewing royal homes, finances, and long-standing arrangements that had also through safeguarding the principles, agreements, and values that have guided the royal family for decades. So, what do you think about Prince Edward's efforts to reclaim his inheritance, the crown for generations? Prince Edward's firm but measured stand reflected that changing reality. His actions showed that the future of the monarchy will not be built only through bold reforms, but all. Do you really think Charles intends to take over completely? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and spark countless debates about what was really happening behind palace walls. One of the incidents most often mentioned reportedly took place during a royal visit to Scotland. It symbolized history, respect, and a strong connection to Scottish culture, something he had embraced for much of his life. Edward, however, reportedly saw the situation differently. Rather than refusing out of disrespect, he simply explained that he did not and seems to trace back to one memorable disagreement rather than years of bitter hostility. Yet, as with many stories involving the royal family, a single moment was enough to fuel endless rumors. According to royal biographer Ingrid Seward in Prince Edward, a biography, Charles, who has always held a deep affection for Scotland and its traditions, was disappointed when Prince Edward chose not to wear the traditional Scottish kilt at a family gathering. To Charles, the Highland dress represented far more than clothing. Monarchs carry lasting weight. They reminded everyone that history cannot simply be rewritten because circumstances have changed. The developments surrounding Bagshot Park and discipline and an unwavering commitment to duty. Prince Edward, on the other hand, demonstrated the value of patience and careful planning. Rather than rushing into conflict, he quietly prepared, understood the rules, and stood firm when it truly mattered. Together, Anne and Edward sent a powerful message that some commitments made by previous monarchs unchanged. Throughout these changes, Princess Anne has continued to prove why she is so widely respected. She has never relied on grand speeches or dramatic public displays. Instead, her influence comes from years of loyalty, humility, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to public service. Their lasting partnership proves that sometimes the strongest family bonds are the ones built away from the spotlight. Edward has been known and has also been a quiet source of encouragement and wisdom throughout Edward's royal journey. Although they champion different charitable causes, they remain united by the same principles. This battle unprepared. Long before the disagreement reached its breaking point, he had quietly spent years gathering every document, receipt, and piece of evidence that could protect his family's position. While others relied on influence or royal status, Edward to have lived relatively outside the spotlights. Does this have any influence on the politics in the monarchy? Did he seem prepared for the challenge? Stay tuned. The documents that stopped Charles. Prince Edward had not walked into the inheritance in the first place. Could there be a feud between the royal brothers? What must have prompted such a move from the king? Stay glued. The truth behind royal tensions. For years, stories about an alleged feud between King Charles III and his younger brother, Prince Edward, have continued to capture attention. Headlines have often hinted at a deep family divide, but when the details are examined more closely, the picture looks far less dramatic. Much of the speculation, Edward's success became more than a family victory. It showed that even royal authority has limits when faced with strong legal protections and careful planning. By patiently standing his ground, Edward safeguarded what he believed his parents intended for him, proving that quiet determination can overcome even the most powerful opposition. The question that many keep asking is why Edward would be denied his inheritance, and renovation had been carefully recorded. These papers painted a clear picture of his commitment to preserving the historic estate rather than simply living there. They showed that he had treated Bagshot Park as a long-term responsibility, not Edward relied on facts. He knew that if his family's rights were ever questioned, solid proof would speak louder than emotion or power. Among his records were detailed documents showing the money he had personally invested in maintaining and improving Bagshot Park over many years. Every payment, repair, the late Queen's intentions regarding family property and personal possessions. It became one of the strongest pieces of evidence supporting Edward's case, leaving very little room for confusion or conflicting interpretations. As tensions continued to rise and pressure mounted behind palace walls, temporary privilege. Even more important was one remarkable document. Edward possessed a letter personally signed by Queen Elizabeth II and witnessed by Prince Philip. According to the account, the letter clearly reflected and addressed the matter directly. Rather than allowing emotions or family tensions to shape the discussion, she focused on what she believed was most important: the integrity of the, but also on trust, and trust could only survive if royal commitments were honored. Determined to understand every detail, Anne personally examined the relevant documents and agreements. She carefully reviewed what Edward had paid, the terms that had been agreed upon, and the decisions Queen Elizabeth had made before her passing. As questions surrounding Prince Edward and Sophie continued to grow, Anne realized that remaining silent could create even greater problems. She requested a private meeting with King Charles, monarchy itself. Anne reportedly reminded the king that private gifts made by Queen Elizabeth should be respected exactly as she intended. If the wishes of a reigning monarch could later be questioned or overturned, it would weaken confidence in every promise made by the crown. In her view, the monarchy depended not only on tradition, over publicity. Reports have often suggested that Prince William and Catherine also appreciate their steady approach, even if they rarely make their views public. Rather than creating headlines or fueling public conflict, This group has focused on preserving the values that Queen Elizabeth II spent decades establishing. They appear determined to protect her legacy, believing that change should happen carefully and respectfully instead of through sudden decisions that could weaken long-standing traditions. Their approach has been calm, but remarkably, and reshaped the institution to fit changing times. They believe this approach will make the monarchy more efficient and easier to manage in the years ahead. Away from the palace, however, another influence has quietly become stronger. Princess Anne, Prince Edward, and Sophie have continued to stand together, choosing consistently firm. Instead of responding with public criticism or emotional statements, they have relied on patience, careful planning, and quiet determination. Sometimes, the strongest message is delivered without raising one's voice, and that is exactly how they have handled this difficult period. For Prince Edward and Sophie, her family responsibilities. Unlike her older children, who spent much of their early years in the care of nannies while she carried out royal duties, Edward enjoyed far more personal attention from his mother. Rather than always being separated from him, the Queen would sometimes bring him into her private study, where he could happily play nearby as she worked through important government papers. These being calm, loyal, and hard-working. He quietly carried out his royal duties without seeking the spotlight, and those close to the family frequently described him as one of the monarchy's most dependable figures. His steady approach, quiet moments, helped create a close relationship that lasted throughout her lifetime. As Edward grew older, he continued to earn his mother's admiration. Unlike some members of the royal family, who often found themselves surrounded by controversy or media attention, Edward built a reputation for Edward's lifetime, offering him the stability needed to continue serving the crown with the same quiet devotion that had earned their complete trust. Queen Elizabeth's choice seems to leave many. Knowing how easily royal arrangements could change over time, Queen Elizabeth reportedly signed a formal letter of intent linking Bagshot Park directly to Edward's tenure as Duke of Edinburgh. Prince Philip, fully aware of the importance, presented the Queen and Prince Philip's final effort to safeguard Edward's future and preserve an important part of Philip's legacy. They wanted to ensure that the title, the estate, and everything they symbolized would remain together throughout the importance of such a decision. Witnessed the document during the final chapter of his own life. Together, they recognized that future monarchs might make different choices unless clear protections already existed. That document became much more than a simple piece of paperwork. It represented money. He spent well over £1 million at the beginning of the restoration, and as the work continued over the years, the total amount approached £3 million. He also paid the required rent and carefully followed every condition of his lease, showing respect for both the property and the rules that first took over the lease in 1998. Bagshot Park was far from the grand residence people imagine today. Years of neglect had left it in poor condition, and restoring it required an extraordinary commitment. Rather than expecting taxpayers to cover the costs, Edward chose to invest his own for the very home he had worked so hard to save. The contrast with Prince Andrew's situation made the story even harder to overlook. Andrew had lived at Royal Lodge for many years under financial arrangements that critics argued were far more generous. Yet, while questions surrounded Edward, who had met every obligation placed governed it, that is why the growing scrutiny surrounding Bagshot Park surprised so many observers. Edward had done everything expected of him. He had protected an important royal residence, paid his obligations, and fulfilled his responsibilities without public complaint. Yet he now appeared to face pressure over personal possession. Instead, it should be listed as crown property. If that happened, Sophie would lose the freedom to wear it whenever appropriate. Every future appearance would require official approval, turning something deeply personal into something controlled by palace rules. The proposal sent a powerful message. It appeared to suggest that even gifts personally given by the late Queen Elizabeth II could now be reconsidered and possibly brought back under institutional control, official ceremonies, and family celebrations. More than anything else in her collection, it represented her own place within the royal family. It was the one crown that truly felt like hers. Then came the recommendation that changed everything. Officials reportedly